Hi,
Postpone.
welcome everyone for that second episode with my friend Victor. I'm so excited.
Hey,
How you be?
I'm fucking awesome, man. How are you?
I'm great. Heading to Melbourne with my friend and gentleman Mark here. Uh,
Yeah,
and,
for you
yeah,
guys that if you weren't on before Romain hit record, Mark was actually naked in the picture just a moment ago, and I'm very
thanks
curious
so
what's
much
going on.
for sharing that.
Of
Yeah,
course,
it's like,
I
oh,
don't want
just
people to miss
before we
out.
start, just please stick to the plane, okay? Stick to the plane I sent you, okay?
You can't tell me that shit.
I know, and there is no plan. Like, it's funny. Like, I've did this a lot of time in French, and it's all about the vulnerability and that space of kindness and intimacy we can create with those calls. So thank you so much, like, for being there, for being on earth. Like, fuck, you're amazing, and I love sharing times with you, and I'm so grateful you are here. Yeah,
Likewise, my friend. Likewise.
yeah,
Very happy to be here.
that's cool. So I have only one question, Victor.
How do you?
What's relationship for you?
Oh, wow, that's you know, a couple of weeks ago, I attended the Relationship Done Different class with Simone, Melissa, and Brennan Watt. And it really reminded me of how it's everything, like you're in relation to everything. Like you have a relationship with yourself, right? With your body, with your lovers, with your friends, with your family, with this reality, with your past, with money, with fucking, like it's really cool. And when you ask me that question, I'm like, I don't even know where to start. It's like, I guess for me, relationship is whatever you decide it is.
Yeah, yeah,
And that's fucking cool because that means it's actually changeable as well. Like nothing is actually really defined ever,
yeah.
unless you make it so. So that's really exciting for me.
No, yeah, and it's really like relationship is the distance between two objects. Uh, what if instead of relationship we create creationship, like with ourselves first, and like, yeah, nurturing your relationship with yourself. It's like, fuck yeah, more of that. Like, just, oh yeah, loving who you are, honoring yourself, being you, and yeah, get the awareness when you choose something. Like, just, yeah, I choose that for now. It's okay, no good, no right, no bad, no good, just okay, I made that choice. What choice can I make to honor more of me and be more of me?
Yeah, and it's like, I mean, there's a lot that goes with relationship and ideas of what relationship is. And it's like, I bet like most people when they hear the word relationship, they think about the relationship with a lover or a partner or a like a relationship like that, and like everything we've decided that is, and everything that means, and all the places where we just buy that reality, we make it fucking real and true. And then it's like, well, there's a lot with that. But I just know, like, looking at myself and my relationships, especially with women, like growing up, like how I really gave up myself a lot. Like less and less now, though. But it's like, you get told that, oh, a relationship is this, and you're like, okay, I'll abide. And it's like, there's no question of anything else that would be possible. It's just like it's interesting, and I see people everywhere choosing relationships that they sort of accept, even though they're not really working, you know?
Yeah.
And yeah, I'm really grateful for. I want to thank Connor that was on last week with you.
Yeah, the first one.
I was on watching, and I'm really grateful for that man. And I'm grateful for his vulnerability and his ability and demand for always asking questions. You know, I was fortunate enough to spend a year in the same house as him, and he said something during your conversation last week. You know, speaking of the thing of like your wrongness might be your strongness, and he said something about, I can't remember, and I'm paraphrasing, but it's like he was never something about good at like having longer relationships or being in a relationship for longer periods of time. Like there was something about that where I went like, man, that's like actually something that I wish that I had more early in my life, because like I can see how I was good at relationship. And with good, I mean like I was really good at giving up myself and, you know, making the relationship work and like cutting off all parts and pieces of myself. And, you know, that really didn't make me happy in the long run, of course. I mean, that makes sense to me now, but it's like he said something about like, I just got where he had a different awareness of what actually worked for him. Like if it's just interesting. And like I've been looking at my different relationship with women, and I actually realized that they've been getting shorter and shorter. it's it's like my first one was 8 years, you know, from when I was really young. My second one was 4 years. My third one was 1 year. And then it's like months, and then it's weeks. So, you know, speaking of that, it's quite interesting. Like, I guess I'm more willing to look at what actually works for me.
Yeah,
Albina wrote
Albina.
48 hours.
Yeah, and it's like, and it's the most crazy part about all those projection and expectation and like how you cut yourself to goes in other people boxes and expectation. It's sometimes it's not ever, not even theirs. Like they don't want that, and you just like doing yourself crazy, like cutting part of yourself to fit in boxes you think they want, and actually
Exactly.
cannot be true. Like that's the crazy fucking part. And instead of just being you and be the invitations for others to choose more for themselves, and just let's do something, you know, like you just make you crazy and you lose yourself.
Right.
But not,
And what you just, sorry. I'm
no,
excited.
when you do that, that's the moment they get bored. It's like, oh fuck, boom, you know.
It's so funny, like when you said that, because I see all the places where I would cut off myself and my receiving towards anything and everything, not from my partner even asking me to do that, but from some sort of assumption that that's the way it is when you're in a relationship. It's like, you know, if I was in a relationship with a woman and then I go out, whatever, and a lady would start flirting with me. And it wouldn't even have to be flirting, you know, it could basically just be a conversation, an interaction with another woman for me. And I would notice myself like putting up all these walls and barriers and like, I'm taken.
I cannot do that.
I cannot receive anything from you. And it's like, you cut off all possibilities with that. And it's from some sort of idea that that's the way it is.
Yeah.
Because like my partners never asked me to do that shit.
No.
And they wouldn't want me to, you know, like not be me and like receive. Because when you cut off your receiving like that, you cut off your receiving from everything.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, I'm not available. World, I'm not available.
Yeah. No,
It's
no.
crazy shit, hey?
I cannot smile you back and I cannot talk to you. No, no, no. Too bad, too bad, too bad, too bad. That's crazy. And that doesn't help anyone, not yourself, not your relationship. You get frustrated for nothing and you make yourself wrong. Never fucking make yourself wrong. Like, just not at all. Yeah.
Oh man, it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work to like keep wondering if you're wrong, you know? And you have that underlying assumption that you are. And then you're like, oh, I wonder what I did wrong today. You know, like there's a lot to that. And it's all from, it's like, where does it even like, it's like everyone just agreed that this is the way relationship is.
Yeah.
And then you're
Yeah.
like, okay.
Yeah. But like, just by making the choice, like, you get the awareness, we get awareness every day. So if we just keep listening to us, like really listen to us and just like being yourself, like all the time, and just ask yourself, yeah, would that choice we create decay or do me a greater future? And it's like starting by your own relationship with yourself, as you said earlier, like that's the first one. By doing that, it's funny how you can be the invitation for others to choose more for themselves, you know, just by being the leader of your own life and not a leader for other people to follow you, but just being that invitation for others to choose more for themselves and be their own leader of their own life. Yeah, that's great. So
Yeah,
really.
truly. And it's like, you know, the topic that I chose for this conversation, or like the meme that I put on my graphic, was anything you expect that you can only get from someone else, you will never have. And that's, you know, because like for me, that's so true. And like what you're talking about as well, like if I have an expectation that I'm going to get something from another person, and that I can't give myself, like, you know, you put that expectation on another one of like, okay, I'm gonna get happiness from you. And when you do that, like, you're setting yourself up, like, because the moment they're not delivering what you're expecting, you're fucked.
Yeah. Or in the way you expect that. Yeah.
Exactly. You know, you have this really narrow that's what expectations do. You get like tunnel vision, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, this is what I've decided that I need in order to be happy, for example. And the moment it's not matched, you're fucked. Like, you know, what if you could give yourself, I mean, can you actually give yourself anything that you require?
Yeah, it's funny because the moment you choose not to live from a space of lack and lack of everything, like whatever it is, could be love, whatever, like happiness, like you are the creator of your life, and every million choice you make a day creates your futures tomorrow and the day after that. And it's like, just being aware you are the only one who need to fill up that happiness cup. Like only you can choose to do that. And at the same time, don't cut your receiving from others. Let them be the contribution to you. But it gets so lighter because you don't put pressure on them. Like, oh, you need to fulfill my happiness cup. It's your world. It's like, it never work. And it's like just things getting crazy and stuff. And so more lightness, more joy, and everything is following joy. And that's great. And you know about the tunnel vision? It's funny, I think Dane said it a few months back. And yesterday I was in an event in Melbourne and he did it again. The joke about like, there is like big flood and a man is like on his roof and like, first one boat's coming, come, we will help you, like save your life. No, I'm waiting for God to save me and stuff. And then another boat, oh, come, no, I'm waiting for God to save me. And then an helicopter come and say, oh, come, we will help. No, I'm waiting for God to help me. And like the waters go up, he die, going to heaven. And God, why didn't you help me? Fuck, I sent you so many people to save you. And you just didn't choose it. So yeah, like every time we met someone, like, and it's not only a lover, it's like every time we met someone, we consciously or unconsciously, we put some label on people, like we have expectation. Oh, he can be my friend, cannot be my friend. It can be my lover, not my lover. It's like that because all the time it's what we have been trained to do. What if instead of that, you're just pushing down your barriers and like having no expectation and give it a chance? And the really great thing about that is like being aware of who are people and who they are not, and who they like to do, not to do, and from a space of, oh, okay, no point of view but that. Like, I don't want to change anyone. I don't want to help anyone. I just want to gift and receive whatever people's are, you know? And it's changed everything. And a lot of time I just get with people and in 5 minutes, yeah, that's my superpower. I create like intimacy and vulnerability, and we can have amazing thoughts with a perfect stranger. And it's what I do. I did that all my life. It's just like just few weeks. It's like, oh yeah, that's my superpower. One of my superpower. Wow. And at the same time, say, okay, but I keep a bit of control every time. So last time I asked Sul, he was doing a Return of the Gentleman intro in Geneva 15 days ago, and I said, oh, I want even more vulnerability in my life. I want less control. Like I get a bit of control. Like, oh, I create a space for others. Like they know I will don't stab them in the back. But at the same time, for myself, I give. But there is something, I just want to get rid of that because, yeah, the vulnerability we can be in the world, for me, is the most potency you can have.
And it's like, you know, that's the gift of having no point of view, though. Like that story you told, it's such a perfect analogy for how expectations work. You know, he had decided what God saving him would look like. And when that didn't match his expectation, you know, he couldn't receive what was actually a contribution to him. Yeah. And that's like anytime you have an expectation of anyone or anything, you know, that anything that doesn't match that expectation, you'll miss.
Yeah, I have the expectation to see Mark naked, getting out of his room.
Still naked?
No, he's half naked. Just see a part of his butt. Like, all good.
Fucking.
And so I had the expectation to see him naked, and it didn't work at all.
I have that expectation right now, and I'm really disappointed.
No, I cannot film him. Do you want to be on camera? No. No, that's funny.
We're not even that many here.
But yeah, like you said, it's like, yeah, the fucking tunnel vision. Get rid of that. Like, and yeah, it's starting with yourself, like on your everyday choices. It's like, train yourself. It's like a muscle. Like you can train to choose something different, and ask yourself, like, is the choice I've made now is working for me now? Like, do I truly honor myself? Do I make choice like would give me a greater future? And if you get a no, at least you get aware of it and you can choose to change it. And if you don't make yourself wrong at all. Just like, okay, I know I choose that again. It will not work. Just being aware of that and okay, with a big smile on the face. Okay, I choose that again. Like, don't make things so fucking significant. Bring a lot of lightness to your life and choose something different when you choose something different. But being the Christian will help you to do that. Yeah, for sure.
And you have to get to the point of like, you need to realize that you're the source for your life. right? Like you're the source for the creation of your life, and like you can't put that on anyone else. And that's really fucking cool. Like when you start getting that, how like, because then you're not like, anything becomes possible all of a sudden, you know, and then you don't need anyone, and then you can start receiving the contribution that people can be.
And people who would love to give you their contribution, because you don't put pressure on them. It's like being around you, it's light. So that's crazy. Yeah. Just acknowledge that you are the creator and the source of creation for your life. Like, and everything. There is no, oh, something happened to me. No, you fucking created. So, and it's cool. Like, learn something from it. Choose something different. That's awesome. When you get that, as you said, like, yeah, I'm the source of creation of my life. Every choice I've made would create my future. Boom. You just got it. Like,
and it's like, you know, then, you know, you have to take responsibility for your life and like where you're at, and realize that you actually created everything. But the power and the gift that comes with that, though, is, you know, then you can change anything. Then all of a sudden you're not putting the power of choice outside of you, right? Then you can, I mean, then, as I said, you know, anything becomes possible. And that's, but you know, people don't want that.
no, don't choose that at all. There.
Then you actually have to like look at, oh wow, I actually created this, and you know, these relationships, and it's also like, if nothing is wrong though, like if you're never wrong, this has been a biggie for me. Like, okay, so if I'm never wrong, none of my choices has been wrong. Like fucking none of them. None of my relationships, none of my interactions with people or women, or like, you know, when you go into the place of like, oh fuck, I shouldn't have done that. And then you start judging yourself, you know? But that actually leads to fucking nothing.
Yeah.
Judgment never creates anything. It's like, you know, what if you instead could actually be present with what you're choosing and go, oh, wow, okay, I chose that. And then you see what that choice created. And then it's like, okay, so what would I like to choose now? What would I like to choose tomorrow? And like always like looking forward and not backwards.
Yeah.
And that's been a biggie for me, like not looking to the past for what I'm creating with my future. With relationships and with everything else.
Yeah.
You know.
It's like, oh, look, if you get a car accident and you get amnesia, like if you had no past, what would you choose today? Like, and you don't need to get hit by a fucking car. You just need to say, okay, if I had no past, what will I choose today? What will annoy me? Like I will, knowing yourself.
And past includes just 10 seconds ago, though.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
When you say like, if I had no past, that even includes this moment that just passed. That includes this conversation 10 minutes ago. That's in the past. Now what would I like to choose? Like, how many decisions do we make constantly about everything? Like, you meet someone and then it's like 10 seconds and all of a sudden you are something in relationship to that person, even though you've never met that fucking person before.
Yeah.
It's like all of a sudden I am something to them, and now I have to be that. It's like, it fucking trips me up, man. It's funny to start looking at, though.
Yeah, and and I so enjoy a lot of conversation with perfect stranger, and I was like, oh, I want more of that. So I choose not to. I've traveled so much. I will never see those person again. But it's like, okay, but I enjoy speaking with people. What else? What contribution can I be and can they be to me? Like in every interaction with people, not making it significant. Like just enjoying those 10 seconds. Like, oh, thank you. Being grateful for that. And like, oh yeah. And even some, I don't have much of bad moments, but like if some interaction not really comfortable for me, I have gratitude for that too. I say, oh, cool, what's that? And I just move on, not making it significant, just getting the awareness from it and move on forward. As you said, forward, all the time.
And it's like, you know, uncomfortableness is pretty cool. Like it usually creates more. Like being comfortable is being comfortable. And I had a moment today. I was sitting at a restaurant, and there was this lady next to me, you know, speaking of having no expectations of what anything leads to or needs to mean, or like, you know, all these weird things that we invent, you know, before even, like, I had all these, because I was sitting there, she was sitting next to me, and I got that I wanted to start talking to her, and I got like some old, I don't even know, like you know, when you get almost like nervous, but it's not really nervous, it's actually excitement, but it's like, huh. And I stopped myself a few times, and I could perceive my future, just even if that was just for the next moment, if I kept quiet and didn't say anything to her. And it was like, that's, it didn't really, and then I could perceive my future if I did start talking to her. And it was so much more of everything, more expansive, and like, you know, that point where you're like, it's not comfortable, but if I make this choice now, my future will get greater, and you don't know how, but then I did. And it's like the first word was like, and then we started talking, and it was just great. It turned out to be this cool conversation. We flirted a little bit. It didn't lead to anything, but it's like, it expanded my world. It's like, it made me happy. I was like, man, nice, you know, had a cool conversation with that lady. It doesn't have to mean anything. It doesn't have to lead to anything, but it's a contribution to me. You know?
And you can ask for more when you get the awareness of that and what it's creating to your world. Oh, fuck. Yeah, I ask for more of that on a daily basis, like with anyone I can meet, and it can be man or woman, you know, or old person or whatever. It's just like, what if you could receive from any gift to everyone on earth?
And it's like, you know, when you make, sorry.
No, go for it. Good. I'm excited. Go for it.
It's just like when you make a choice like that, it's like, you know, not start. So take this example. If I kept quiet and didn't talk to her, I knew what that was going to look like. That was comfortable. It was predictable, and there was nothing more to that. But when you make a choice like that, and you make the choice, and I started talking to her, all of a sudden 10 new choices showed up. Of like, you know, you start going on these different paths, and it's like, whoa. And then I can take the conversation that way. I can ask for a number. I can do all these things, and it's like boom, boom, boom. All of a sudden, it's like one choice creates massive choices, and then you take one of those choices, it creates more choices, and it's just like, you know, the exploration and adventure of choosing to
choice great,
comfortable, predictable, you know, familiar. Yeah. So
wow.
It's very
yeah. And Stephanie saying, oh, it doesn't have to mean anything, or doesn't have to lead to anything. There is so much space and freedom. This, yeah. And it's like, you have no expectation about that. And train yourself for more sexualness into your life. Like, you remember when we was like 7 years old, walking all around, like almost maybe dancing and flying when walking into a room or whatever, like more of that, like more of that. And that doesn't mean leads to copulation. It's not about sex at all. It's just about that energy you can be, and you just need to choose to light it up again. And like, boom, be that energy when you enter in a room, when you're on a daily basis, like every time yeah, when you think about it, like, oh yeah, I choose more sexualness right now. And like, can you see a cat? You see a cat when a cat enters somewhere and you just want to cuddle him, or
do you see a cat right now?
No.
Oh, it's an example.
It's a no. No, just look at the cat. A cat. When he enters, no, I have no cat. I'm in a Airbnb in Melbourne. No, I have no cat. It could be good.
Like either he's tripping balls or I am. I don't even.
No, but it's like, watch a cat. A cat when you walk, like just doing that and going everywhere, like coming to you. What does that bring to you? You want to feed him. You want to be nice with him. You want to cuddle him. You know what I mean? It's like, fuck, be the fucking cat of your life, like just for you, not with the expectation of anything, but just be that sexualness energy, like who would light everyone else everywhere. Bring more of that into the world and just create so much. And you don't have to do anything. You don't have to fuck anyone. It's just
not
be
even
that
cat.
energy. Not even cats. That's weird. That's weird.
But it's like, you know, cats are really sexual, and it's like you can really receive that sexual energy. It doesn't mean you have to like fuck the cat, because that's probably not something you want to choose. But it's like, you know, as you say, like just having that, wow, that being open to receiving that sexual energy from everything, right? And it doesn't mean anything. It doesn't have to mean anything, you know? Like, what if nothing ever meant anything? Yeah. Like, I love that. I can't remember who usually says, it might be Simone, but it's like, you can say whatever, and you can like lead on, and you can flirt, and like you can do whatever. You can be the greatest invitation and make people want to fuck you, right?
Yeah.
But it doesn't mean you have to deliver.
To choose it, yeah.
You know, you never have to do anything. But like, I know a lot of times for myself, like you get to that point, you're flirting or whatever, and then you like bring someone home, and then it's all of a sudden you have no choice. Even if you get like, this is probably not going to be, you know, when you get that crunchy feeling in your body, it's like, maybe this is not such a good idea. I've fucking done it anyway, like always, because it's like I have an obligation now, sort of like I led her on, and if I say no now, I'm going to be an asshole, or I might hurt her feelings, or, you know, but that's such an unkindness towards yourself and to that other person.
And to that other person, yeah. Yeah, and it's funny to play with that energy, like an exercise I love to do, and I really do that on a daily basis. When I go somewhere, I just look at people, and I play with that exercise. So, but I look at old people, young people, men, women, and stuff. And I just like, would that be fun to fuck with them? And that doesn't mean I have to choose to fuck with them, but it's just, for me, just opening or receiving, like badly in a good way, like, oh yeah, I can receive from everyone, like pushing down my barriers and just like, oh, would that be fun to have sex with Mark today? Oh, Mark, I get a yes. I'm sorry, but I don't have to choose it. I don't have to choose it. And Victor's too. It's like, yeah, I don't have to choose it, but by doing that, I don't cut. I had a great conversation last year with a friend of mine, a gay couple, and I was telling that, and I asked him, oh, do you ask? He said, yeah, for men. And do you do the same for women? Ask yourself, it's fun to fuck with that woman? Oh no, I can't do that with women. And I was like, oh fuck, like that's stopping a bit of receiving, my friend. You can try, just try it once and see what it's create. Doesn't mean you have to fuck a woman. Just
totally
about receiving and that energy.
The fucking is such a very tiny piece of everything.
Yeah,
it's like, you know, it's fun, but like just receiving that energy is, you know, wow, like that's the energy of life. Like,
Yeah, really.
How yummy is it to just, you know, be with that and like, and then, you know, if copulation happens, it happens, but you know, it doesn't have to. There's a lot more to it.
And when you do that a lot, it's kind of check other people world. So sometimes they could like, oh, maybe you want to fuck me or whatever, and because of all that sexualness with its such an attraction for people, it might be, oh, like they could like think you want to fuck them and stuff, and you don't have to do it. You can just, oh, look, I'm not choosing that, but let's continue like to have fun and like to chat and talk and everything. And at a point, it's just being the invitation for them to choose that for themselves too. And yeah, like the smile, you know, like just spread everywhere. More of that. Happiness, sexualness, like choose it.
Yeah. And and I have to acknowledge you, Romain. Like, I remember the first time we met. When was that? Like, I mean, like a couple of years ago, a year and a half.
Yeah, a year and a half.
And because you're quite different, and you really, I just remember like, whoa, that's a lot. Like, because you were so like inviting, and like I've changed. I have to say, like, I've changed a lot since then, and you inspired me to look at where I cut myself off. Like, you know, I met you and you were like so smiling and friendly and happy. I'm like, what the fuck is up with this dude? Like, does he want to have sex, or is he just really, you know, it put me in the question, and I went into all these definitions and decisions about what that would mean or lead to or whatever. And it's, so thank you for that.
You're welcome,
really
my friend. Yeah, it's like I always choose for me, not against other, you know, just choosing for me, being me. And I want to be the invitation, for my kids, for my wife, to choose more for them. And like before it was only like, oh yeah, I would love them to change something. Now it's not I don't care, but I don't want to change them. I mean, I just want to live my life creating by my choice, being me and doing things for me, not against each other. And it just creates some more. You know, it's like the fucking elastic. When you go near to the cliff and you have all your families or friends or whatever, and it's like, oh, I don't want to lose them. And so you always sometimes get back or just cut the elastic, but like not talking to them anymore. For me, it's just like, oh, I'm going near to the cliff. Oh, let's jump. Not for them to follow me, but to be the invitation for them to go to their own cliff, you know, like, and if they don't want to jump, it's all good. It's all good. And when I come back and Elodie just, oh, thanks for being my invitation. It's like, yeah, that, more of that. And I'm never at home. I mean, and it's cool. And sometimes we move all together, sometimes by myself, but it's like, I have the willingness to be judged for that, for people in that reality who doesn't get it. But I don't want to live a life from the space of lack, of need, of other people's expectation, or how it should be. Fuck no, I don't want that. I want to live my own life and be the inspiration for and the invitation for others to choose for them. So when you say that, and I would love you, acknowledgement. When you was talking 5 minutes ago, I was like, oh, I would love that Viktor can see him through my eyes right now and see the gift you fucking are for the world. And I already told you that, and I would keep told you that. It's like, fuck, man, you're awesome. And like every choice and everything you choose lately and from the beginning of your life, it's who you are today. And it's like, fuck, I love you. Just keep choosing that.
Thank you.
The
appreciate
gift.
It. That makes me happy.
Not hard.
Yeah. I'm like semi-hard.
Oh, cool.
Half.
That.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, getting there, you know. You do have that effect on me.
I know. Cool. Oh.
And it's like, you know, yeah, and the idea that you have to give up yourself for anyone else is kind of crooked.
Yeah.
And then, you know, people go around doing that and they're fucking miserable. Like, look at most couples and people, because like, man, there's a lot available beyond that. There's a lot available beyond that. And it's like, you know, you choosing for you is such an invitation for anyone that's around you. Like, compared to that thing that we do of like, oh, you know, I gave this up for you.
Yeah.
So now
you owe me something. Oh, fuck that.
No, exactly. And it's that like, now you have to be grateful and give something up for me. So there's a balance. But it's like, okay.
Oh, yeah. So
Really
yeah. Oh, Stephanie asking, can you say choosing for you, difference between choosing for you but not against? Like every choice you make, like ask yourself for every choice you make, like I am doing it for me or against each other. I mean, if there is something in an interaction with someone like it's not working for me, I can tell the person and I can choose words that would work for me. Like, don't do things against others. Doing things for you, I kind of have no word on that. It's like, you know, when you are choosing something to hurt someone, or when you are choosing something to make you feel like making it working for you, it's a complete different energy. So ask yourself next time, like, do I choose that for me or against other? And for me, it's clear now. Maybe Victor, do you have a word on that? Choosing for
like,
you or against each other?
Yeah, like looking at couples is a good example of like, you know, when you're with someone and they, for example, invite you to go to a party with their friends and you fucking hate those guys and you never enjoy spending time with them, but you do it because of a reason, because you've decided that you have to, or because you've decided that that's kindness towards your partner, to like make that sacrifice of like having a miserable evening for them. And what does that actually create? You know, that's actually not choosing for you, and that's choosing fucking against yourself. Like, what if you could actually say no? I mean, you can always say no.
Yeah.
And it's like, what have you decided that saying no would mean? Because it never fucking shows up the way you think it will. And all these different scenarios and ideas that we create in here, they're basically never true. It's like, you know, if you look at the big picture, like you choosing for you and you having allowance for your partner in this example to choose for them and having allowance for each other, that's like, if you can get to that place with someone, that's fucking cool. And no means not giving what they want, therefore I'm against.
No, yeah. So if you said, oh, look, I don't want to go to that party because I'm not enjoying being with those people, it's like not the same as, oh, go yourself to your fucking party by yourself. It's like, I don't want to be with you tonight.
Yeah. There's a difference in saying no from an actual awareness of what works for you and being aware of what that choice will create as well. Like sometimes it might be appropriate to go to that party, but like if you don't choose it from obligation, like if you rather can like choose it from, okay, I see that this will create more for me and my partner in the world or whatever, like you can of course make a choice, but it's a difference in making it, saying no from awareness and saying no from like proving or resisting, right? Like when you're like, man, I'm not gonna, you know, with that energy, because that's what I think you mean. Maybe Stephanie, you can come on and speak if you want, but like no means not giving what they want, therefore I'm against. Not necessarily. Like, you know, it depends on the energy that you be and choose, right?
Yeah.
And like, I mean, we know shit, and you know when you're choosing something from resistance or proving or aligning and agreeing, or when you're like, oh, okay, what's actually gonna work for me here? And then fucking have a conversation about it, you know? Like, but it's not that horrible to actually speak about things.
Yeah, no.
You know, you can actually say, oh, this is actually not really working for me, you know, this is not fun. Like, what else is possible here? And have a vulnerable conversation with someone from question. Okay, so what can we choose?
Yeah. Oh, and I would love to invite you guys to read the book, like Relationship, Are You Sure You Want One? This book is amazing, and it's all started last year by that. I mean, Simon and Brendan get that book out of the world and doing their first Relationship Done Different class in April in Nisa. Just a minute, the book, and he was like, oh, I forgot. Yeah, it's Mark like doing his bookshop. Like, it's not the good book, Mark. And it's like, yeah, they was doing the class Relationship Done Different. I was like, what the fuck? Really? It looks like a relationship done different. And I jump in the plane and go there. And the week before, I did the French version of the show you are watching right now. And I had like 9 dates every morning, every night with 9 different certified facilitator, French one. And it was amazing. That conversation was amazing. And it all started by this book, Relationship, Are You Sure You Want One? And it's awesome. And just give me the envy this year to starting again. I have like 22 dates in French, and we are just starting the English version. And it's awesome. The space that's great, those kind of conversation, like really can be an invitation for people to choose a world with more kindness, more vulnerability, more intimacy, and just know, okay, those guys may be weird, but they are choosing something different. And I love that.
And the point is like to not come to a conclusion about anything, but to be in the question of what actually works for you. And that's really cool. It's like, okay, your point of view actually creates your reality. And the way you choose to be with something, that's the way it's going to turn out. Like if you decide that something is something, that's the way it is. But if you can, you know, ask a question, oh, okay, so what else is possible?
Oh, are you saying
you got what?
Are you saying your point of view creates your reality?
That's what I said, dude.
Wow, I was looking for that for many years. Thank you.
It's kind of like
boom.
What? And it's funny though, like we've, you know, I've been discovering access consciousness and playing with the tools for a bunch of years now, and it's still like, you know, you get like I get awarenesses of like, oh, my point of view actually creates my reality, like that applies to this as well. You know.
And there's a lot you get it when you get it, and never make yourself wrong for that. You might listen to something or read something or watch something 10 times, 20 times, whatever, and someday you have your aha moment. Oh, and fucking have gratitude for that moment. Say, yes. Don't go into the wrongness of, oh, I've listened to that. No, fuck that. You get it now. Woo! How is it getting better than that? And what else is possible now? Yeah.
And it's like, you know, the choice of avoiding uncomfortable, for example, like we talked about earlier, that's like something that seems to be pretty common. Like if you decide that being uncomfortable is something you want to avoid, you're never gonna, you know, discover what that would be. Yeah. It's like, what's the worst thing that's going to happen? Like that example I brought up today with that lady, it's just one small tiny example of what choosing that uncomfortable can actually, you know, create for you. And you know, how much is that true in regards to relationships as well? Like, because do you all actually always know when an uncomfortable choice is going to create more? like when a difficult conversation needs to be had or whatever, and then you have it, and it's never the fucking disaster that you decided it was going to be. It like, look at it, it always fucking creates more. Always. But you avoiding it and like procrastinating
because you make
like,
a movie in your head.
Yeah. And it's like, you know, you create these like scenarios in your head, and the more you procrastinate and avoid it, the more energy it takes, and the bigger this thing becomes. And it's like, and then eventually, I know this has been true for me a lot, especially previously in my life with relationships, where I would just avoid having this talk with my partner. And for so long, yeah, Albina says, never done that. Yeah, exactly. You know, I'm sure I'm the only one. But then when you actually have that conversation, you know, does it ever show up the way you thought it would? Like,
no.
Is it ever a disaster? Like, no, you know, it isn't.
It creates more. Yeah.
And
a lot of awareness comes from uncomfortable situation and conversation, and like,
I'm discovering uncomfortableness a lot. And you know, I mentioned that I was in a house with Connor for a year in Australia, you know, last year, and it was not just me and Connor, it was fucking me and Connor, Sarah and Mark. And for those of you that know these guys, know that they're fucking pretty intense, and like they're choosing really big. And I have to say, like, what that year in that house created for me, it was so uncomfortable. Like, I have to say, like, I was nowhere near willing to choose and step up to the level that they were. But it fucking inspired me. And like, just, you know, having that choice of embracing that uncomfortableness and like, okay, fuck it, I'm just gonna, you know, explore this. It created a lot for me. And like, yeah, I'm just grateful for, you know, choice.
And I'm grateful for you sharing that. Yeah, it's awesome. So just nurture your relationship, do whatever works for you, and push down your bio. Oh, I've got like hourly reminder, and it's like pushing down your barriers. Do everything works for you, and like, and every time I do that, I get the reminder, say, I want to choose more. Just choose for you.
Yeah.
Great.
And
so
the thing
much
is,
for
like,
others too.
And it's a constant, continuous choice in like every moment. Like one of the tools of access consciousness, you know, 10-second increments, that's like, it has changed my life so much, because if you don't reference your past for what you're choosing, not even a moment ago, right? Then you can always make a new choice, and you make a new choice. And it's like, it's not one choice that would create something, a relationship, a happiness or whatever. And you like, you know, you make a choice and then you have no choice, and then that's your reality. But if you can actually always choose and be in the question of, oh, does this actually work for me still? Like, you know, how much have you decided that you need to be with someone just because you've been with them?
Yeah.
Like, you go into that, there's no choice in that. It's like, okay. And then you like, you know, you fucking deal with it and you tough it out for 2 more years. But was it actually time to end it 2 years earlier, you know? Like, what if relationship can be something that has no time frame? You choose it as long as it works, and then you don't choose it when it doesn't work. And it doesn't have to be a drama about it, you know? That's something that...
Have fun. Yeah. Ask for more fun. Fun. Oh, it's been an hour already. Thank you so much, Viktor. Yeah. Almost. Do you have a last word? What would be your last word?
I just want to thank you, man, like for having these conversations. And this is something, I'm going to watch all of them. And I'm really grateful for you. And thank you for everyone that's on. And thank you to all of you that watch this in the future. And how much more fun can we have?
Yeah. Thank you so much, my friend. Thank you, everyone who was online. or will watch the replay. You're welcome, Jason. Thanks, Albena, and everyone's there. It's like, let's create something different by choosing more for us. Boom, mic drop. Thank you so much, everyone. See you next week.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.